How's it going? Jesse Botrin here, and I'm going to show you the exact frameworks, operations, literally everything on how my clients are signing five-figure a month clients in under 3 months. And I want to make a disclaimer. This is not the classic Hormozi advice. It's not going to be stolen YouTube guides. I'm not going to tell you AI is going to make you rich. I'm not going to tell you to do more volume and all of the gurus that are out there telling you these secrets that are really just repackaged YouTube stuff. It's not going to be any of that. And I guarantee you, look at the courses that you've bought. You're not going to find any of this stuff inside that course. What this will be is exposing what actually works in 2026, because a lot of these 7 and 8 figure operators are gatekeeping all of the information, because as soon as you know this information, they stop getting paid and the system stop working. My goal by the end of this video is to make sure you are not signing any more broke clients that are still giving you price objections on the call. And I want to make you sick of how many calls are actually in the calendar, so you're forced to get a sales rep, you're forced to get a sales manager instead of just offloading the responsibility. And I also want to make sure that you're actually good at service delivery, which I know is a shocker. Everybody that you see online is throwing you information on how to get clients, but isn't showing you how to keep them, when that's the most important part. And I want to be super blunt. If you're not confident in your service delivery, please do not watch this video. We don't want anybody to actually get clients, because it's not ethical. If you're not able to provide good results, you don't deserve clients yet. You should be working on a complete rev share. And what really inspired me to leak all of this information is because I'm tired of hopping on all of my sales calls and hearing I'm burning thousands a month on ads, I'm not tracking metrics or the right metrics, or they just looked at what their competitors charge and said, okay, I'm gonna charge a little bit more or a little bit less. And then I want you to ask yourself, how many appointments do you book a day, right? Because when I ask people this, they're like, a day? It's always a week, and it's a complete joke. And then maybe this agency or guru will finally book me appointments and scale my agency. And you run through these operators that don't care about you, and then you get left behind or you get thrown a CSM, a client success manager in a community, and you still don't get results. For example, my clients aren't just flexing their results, but they're also showing the results that they get for their clients. For example, Daniel, he actually closed about $180,000 for his client in roughly 3 to 4 weeks. And it's a 39x ROAS because he just started running the campaign. He does need to get it down to 2.5 ideally, but that's a conversation for later. So I want you to ask yourself, if you're guilty of any of these and you're an agency, a growth op, or a high ticket course seller, you need to watch to the end of this video, because every second that you spend scaling a broken foundation is you're just setting money on fire. So I'm going to solve it for you. Not the fancy stuff, but the boring stuff done right. What this looks like is getting your offer dialed in, getting your organic dialed in because we're in a trust recession, installing the pre-call nurture sequences, which majority of people leave out. So they show up on the call ready to buy. You're not dealing with objections, making sure you're able to book the appointments in the first place, which is why most of you guys are watching this video, and then making sure you're able to close those appointments at least a 20% close rate. Because the boring stuff is exactly how Daniel got a 24K a month client, which he's probably going to get to a 50K a month client next month. At this time, he only generated $128,000 for his client in 3 weeks. But even just the time of me making this board and the time now, he's already generated him more money. Or Robert's YouTube offer, he got 0 to 21.7K in 46 days. Or Luca, he signed a 35K a month client in 30 days, which is now a 7-figure a year client. Or Andrew, which signed a 10K a month client in 9 days. I made an offer video on him. The offer was everything. And all of this is just from our front end done with you offer. If we start to look at the back end offer, we have some big people. For example, William Rivera, 762,000 followers. You probably know him. Ran his webinar, 12K piffs. I could go on about the results with him. I'll let you look at it. Like, there's just so much. I don't want to bore you with all of the information, but hopefully, and Max in house, right? Like, you can read the DMs. Shout out Ibra. He's my partner that helps with all this delivery. I won't bore you with all the results. We'll just get to the sauce. But right before I get to the sauce, I want to make something extremely clear. If you're just starting and you're trying to sign your first client and get your first 5-figure month, you can't get results for your clients. Everything I'm about to say is probably going to fly over your head because you just need experience still. All you need to do is do more work for free. You probably need a dopamine cleanse and won't make it through the entire video anyway. Because I don't want your calendar to look like this if you're not able to get them results. Because that means you're going to charge them, you won't get them results, and then I'm helping you do something that's unethical. Everything that I'm going to be walking through is geared towards people who can get client results ethically, but simply struggle to escape the business, charge more, and have the calendar packed with sales calls every single day. I know you're a killer and insanely hardworking, which is probably why you're watching this video. So then you'll brute force your way through all the issues, commoditize your pricing because you think that's the only reason you're not closing clients, and you're desperate for clients. You struggle with signing clients, you overload on delivery, then you need more clients, then you spam a manual outreach, then you dump money into ads, and you keep putting gas on a fire when the foundation is broken in the first place. Here's some most social credit on how good we're booking appointments. And this is exactly why we don't just throw you into a course and throw a CSM, like I said earlier, at you, or some group coaching calls and say good luck. On more of a serious note, the problem isn't you. It's the models and information that have poisoned this online space, unfortunately. The business space spread by the famous Instagram gurus that you most likely follow, it's all the same top of funnel information that is not going to help you. Your business needs something proven, needs something genuine, the stuff that's actually gatekept, like I said. And I'm tired of seeing people that are so good at what they do, but just because they can't serve their clients, they can't find their clients, they're not able to get results. They're not able to grow. They're not able to help people, because when you help somebody else, you most likely make them more money. And then they're able to put food on the table. They're able to live the life that they want. And the fact that you are talented and you're not able to do that for them is absolutely ridiculous. So this video is intended to make sure that that never happens to somebody who is capable of getting results for their clients ever again. So that's why we got the yin and yang method. You can make your own guess on why we called it that. This is Ibra. He won the school games. He's the one that helps on service delivery side a ton. And we are going to walk through the entire method. The reason that your offer is so important is because everybody is focusing on all of this stuff. They focus on making the fancy posts. They focus on their pricing, trying to get appointments through some low quality outreach. But all of the killers, all the guys that are absolutely huge in the space, the guys that you don't see posting on Instagram every day because they're busy working, are focusing on their offer and their delivery structure. So I want to draw out some economics for you because this stuff is insanely important to understand. So let's say we have an empty market, also known as a blue ocean. What happens is the margins are super big. So we have all of these people, usually only a few of these people actually dive into the market. So we have this one guy that takes up all of it. Now, this guy is super successful because he found a blue ocean. The other guys are going to hear about it, so they start diving in too. But then the question is, what do they do to be able to beat the original guy that has the blue ocean? Well, they have to compete in some sort of way. Well, most people that are in the market are incompetent, so how do they compete? They're going to look at what they're charging and they're going to say, what if I charge this a little bit less and do the same delivery? That should make me good. So they enter the market, and that's exactly what they do. Both of these guys are still successful since there's not a lot of people in the market. But what happens when we start to get hundreds or even thousands of people competing for the same slice of the pie? Well, now we have hundreds or thousands of people competing on price, which means the value of the service is commoditized. What you have to ask yourself is, how do you become a market of one and create your own blue ocean? Well, the only way that we do that, and the only way that we kill all of our competitors, is not competing on price. It's making an offer that is simply better and makes you a marketable one and kills all of these people, like I said earlier. So the way that we do this, which is what we're going to dive into a second here, is things like packaging, the speed in which we do things. This is where we get to logic-based pricing. Now, the key with logic-based pricing is that we're not doing incompetent things. It's based off of the value we provide. So that is the basics on how a market gets commoditized. Now we're going to dive into exactly how you enter a market, you become a market of one, and that you're able to beat your competitors. And then the consequence of doing this is that everything downstream becomes 10 times more effective, including appointment booking, your sales, the trust, your delivery, your pricing, the money you make, literally everything. The important fundamental to understand is that you can be average at what you do, but if you're good in your offer, you will always beat the person who is exceptional at what they do, but have an average offer. And the issue is, for most of you guys watching this video, you are hopefully the exceptional operator, but your offer just sucks. The first thing that you want to do to actually differentiate your offer is to understand who you're serving to. I know, shocker. That is why we create something called a latent conditions report. This is a psychology term that is basically all of the initial conditions of the market. The reason that this works so well is because the psychology of one person in a market is fractal, meaning the psychology of one person in a niche will be the same psychology, roughly, that applies to the entire niche. The things that make up this latent conditions report is things like their language patterns, emotional vocabulary, industry terms, the 6 pillars from their perspective. The 6 pillars, which we're going to walk through, is the same decision-making processes that everybody makes, whether it's to go to the bathroom or to buy a Lamborghini or to buy your service. Then we have cognitive biases. These are the mental shortcuts that people take to make decisions, which we can take advantage of because every single niche has their own cognitive biases. Then we have things like their primary frustrations, what are their objections, their opportunities to be able to resonate with them so they feel like there's trust, because Carl Rogers has a term, but the only way for people to change their perspective, they must feel accepted. And obviously we have to make them feel accepted to be able to make them trust our service. Then we have the concerns that they always have about the industry because a lot of people are scammers in the space. Then we have all the required proof, making sure our guarantee is in alignment with their psychology and what they really want, and truly defining what success means to them, not your idea of success because you're the one who made the service. This report is built of a 50-page psychoanalysis, 300 plus prospect interviews, 100 plus psychological condition points, thousands of research points, and a whole bunch of post-signing questions. If you don't have the software to be able to do this, which most likely you don't, it's okay. You can do 50 client interviews, but this is one of the things that we help you with. The idea is if you don't know your ICP better than they understand themselves, how do you expect to book a ton of calls, charge more, do good on delivery, and have them hand you their credit card? So now we know how to package ourselves. Because of the latent conditions report, we can identify where the gap is in the psychology, look at our competitors, and look at the misalignment. Now we know who and what to package for, and we can apply that 6-pillar philosophy that I was talking about earlier. What those 6 pillars are is drives create goals, goals create problems, problems create pain, pain creates action, and then action requires conviction. So for example, a drive could be social credit. This is one of the latent conditions. Let's say that this report tells us that the people that we're targeting really want social credit, like maybe a roofer. Honestly, anybody in the home service niche wants social credit. Well, now that they want social credit, well, then you don't have money for a Lamborghini to get all that social credit. So now you have a problem, and you're sad because you don't have a Lamborghini. So that creates pain. And then when you're in pain, you have to do something to escape pain because all of human behavior is pain averse. So they run ads to make money for the Lambo. Pretty simple, right? Now that action requires conviction. So to run ads to make the money, they have to have conviction that it's actually going to make them money. This is where we insert ourselves. They need to have conviction that if they pay an agency to run their ads, for example, they're actually going to be able to make a money off of it so that they can get that Lambo from the social credit that initially drives to their goals. Whatever your niche is, this applies. And then this is the part that is super important. The action requires conviction. This dives into the pricing. Because if you properly position your offer based off the latent conditions report and it attacks their problems that create pain, and then they think that they have conviction to be able to take action to solve that pain, now we're able to raise our prices however much we want. Because now we're a market of one, since nobody else in your market is doing all this stuff that I'm saying. So how do we actually price though? So the first thing is, do not charge based on your time and don't charge based on your competitors. It's the worst thing that you could do. The way that you want to look at price is the value to price discrepancy. So essentially the perceived value, the farther that we can stretch it from where our price is, the more of this somebody wants to buy. I'll give you an example. Let's say I would give you a Lamborghini for $100. Why would you want that Lamborghini so bad? Well, the discrepancy between the perceived value and the price that I'm charging you is extremely high. So for your service, if we can engineer the offer in a way where perceived value is as high as possible, then we're able to charge a percentage of the value that we provide. This is the correct way to charge. You always charge based off a percentage of the value you provide. This makes it so you're not trading your time for money and you're not just looking at your competitors and charging a little bit less. Because at the end of the day, people do not care how many dollars they give up. They care about how much they get for their dollars. The main variable to increase, like I said, is perceived value. Everything targets it. The offer, your positioning, your organic, I'm going to dive into everything. But like I said, in these pillars, action requires conviction. And this is, again, where we have to engineer 2 things to make somebody buy, because there's only 2 variables that exist. We have pain and confidence. Now we can do the inverse of pain and confidence. We can decrease comfort or we can increase doubts. Now remember, you're never creating discomfort, you're never creating doubt, you're simply amplifying the drivers and the pain that already exists. If somebody has unlimited confidence in your service, but they have no pain, there's no reason for them to buy. If somebody has incredible pain, but no confidence that you can get them results, there's also no reason to buy. That's why the better that you can position yourself to be able to increase pain and confidence as much as possible, then the more you're gonna be able to charge and more you're gonna make more money and blah, 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 blah. While your positioning directly affects the amount of pain and confidence that you can engineer, we can also increase this through our delivery structure. Now, good delivery is painful. Shocker. It's called the barrier to entry. It's called the moat. The amount of pain that you go through for service delivery is your barrier of entry, your moat, which I just talked about. But the interesting thing is when you increase your delivery quality, it forces you to have better packaging. Because usually when you increase your service delivery, you have a unique way of getting your clients results, which means you're the only person that does it the way that you do because you found this unique way of getting results through experience, which means nobody else has the packaging or the ability to even package themselves the way that you do. So if we look at the difficulty to create your product or your service compared to the difficulty to get clients, you'll notice that they are in inverse relationship. So as we increase the difficulty it is to create your product or service, you'll notice that the difficulty to get clients goes severely down because of what I just said. You have a better barrier to entry and you have better packaging. Because improving your service delivery is going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of pain. Greater pain means greater barrier to entry. Greater barrier to entry means greater differentiation, like I said, which is your packaging, which means you can have a bolder offer, which also forces you to have good product development, plus increased confidence on your sales calls and also being able to get them results, which comes back into we're able to get clients easier. All of this is to improve perceived value, which equals increase in pain and confidence, which equals increased prices, which you can do this with packaging alone. And if we go back to what happens when we increase perceived value, now you can see how your price increases as well. And then the side effects is you get better delivery, they have more confidence that you can get them the results. And now that they have the perceived idea that your service will actually help them escape the pain, they see the difference between their current pain level and their desired pain level via you to be able to have no pain, which is the solution. So to wrap everything up, if you understand your clients better than they understand themselves, you understand their buying cycle and based off of psychology, and you're able to position yourself in a market of one so you don't commoditize yourself and charge less than everybody else, that is how you're going to be able to increase your prices, and it's going to make client acquisition 10 times easier. Now, to put the cherry on top, let's look into the tools that we can use to make our offer even better. This is going to be things like guarantees, proof, different business models, and then exclusion. A lot of people miss out on this exclusion. So getting clients is easy, keeping them is hard. You already know that LTV to CAC is the Polaris star of the business. So for LTV, most people have one model, no upsells, no downsells, and their free stuff is absolutely terrible. You hate money and you're setting it on fire. You want an offer that stretches that perceived value discrepancy, which means just doing better delivery. Better delivery rates increased prices, like we said. Increased prices means increased margins, which equals more money for better delivery and quality. This is exactly why the whales in the industry take over the market, excluding the people with big brands. This doesn't apply to them. But when you have the fat margins, you're able to murder everybody else on the service delivery side of things and the perceived value side of things. And then you get more results and more trust, and you just take it over. That's why if you try to compete with these guys, you really have no chance and you have no choice but to make your offer better. But if you also have a big brand and you combine a better offer, you are insanely powerful. Other things with LTV means having a back-end offer, which gets us into the business models. For example, you can have a front-end offer that most people will qualify for. The people that do good in your front-end offer, you can pull them into your back-end offer, and then you upsell. The back-end offer is going to be more done for you. You get them better results. Then you recycle the testimonials to get more people for your front-end offer, and then it creates this flywheel effect of a ton of clients. Next, we're going to talk about CAC. So everything we have walked through is the first and highest leverage step to drop your CAC, because when you charge more, that means you have more operational efficiency. You can take on more clients, and you can also just improve your service delivery in general, which means you have more time, which means you have better and more organic, which means you have more money, which means you can run more ads, and you have cheaper ads because the organic will make your ads cheaper. The reason that this truly works is because when you charge more, you're not going to fall into this trap where you have a whole bunch of clients to deliver on, because when you have too many clients, obviously your service delivery isn't going to be as good. So what happens is then you're going to run around for a whole bunch of cheap clients and you're not going to get any good testimonials. So then when you have to go get better clients where you're like, shit, I don't have any testimonials to show the world, so nobody's going to trust you, and this makes it, again, you can't charge a lot, but also it's going to make getting clients harder. So that is why this whole idea of making your offer perfect from the beginning has all of these downstream effects, which we're also going to dive into more and more in this video. And to be completely honest with you, LTV to CAC truly requires its own breakdown. I can make a 2-3 hour video of it, which I probably will. So to sum everything that we just talked about up, you have to understand your market better than they understand yourself. Position your delivery in a way that attacks what the market wants, because you never want to push a product or service on a market. You want to go to the market first and then create a solution for the pain that they describe. After you understand that market, you're going to take all those psychological conditions and you're going to look at your current packaging and you're going to look at your current service delivery. The first step is you have to understand how to make your service delivery better, because that's going to let you have unique logic-based pricing, not just throwing a fancy name on it, which is then going to allow you to be able to charge more and get clients way easier. And since you're charging more, it's going to allow you to have bigger margins, which means you don't have to take on a ton of clients, which means you're going to get them better results, which means bigger testimonials, which means client acquisition gets better. And then also your clients are making more money. So subsequently you make money, which means you have more assets for organic. I'm going to dive into everything in just a second. Hopefully you understand now that your offer is extremely important, because it's the foundation of literally everything. Now that we have the offer in place, we have to dive into the organic side of things. Organic is now officially a non-negotiable, because we are in a trust recession. You're going to need it for your pre-call nurture sequences. You're going to need it just for the social credit in general. You need to provide free value. No longer are the days you can send out a whole bunch of messages, get somebody on an appointment, have them trust you enough to pay you a lot of money. It's just all bad. You need organic. The network effects of organic is going to be, you're going to be able to charge a lot more money. Your cash collected is going to be higher. Your close rate is going to be higher. You're going to be able to hire top talent, because you could just post a story on Instagram and then find the best people. They're free ads. Everything that you post is a permanent ad forever. What you would have to pay for the views you get on organic, you'd have to pay thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars just to be able to get the same amount of eyeballs on your offer. And then, like I said earlier, you're going to be able to get pre-call nurture assets, which is also huge, and we're going to dive into it, don't worry. So this is the entire organic system from a macro level, the yin and yang ecosystem. Essentially, on short form platforms, we're going to run our top of funnel and middle of funnel content. We're going to drive all of this middle of funnel and top of funnel content to a lead magnet. This lead magnet is going to send people to value-based YouTube videos, so they actually see you a whole bunch, they start to trust you. Then we're going to send it to a YouTube organic VSL, like the one that you're watching right now. Maybe you came here from a lead magnet, for example. And then this is also going to start getting you more followers, which means you have a pool of interested people who already know what you are, who you are, and also know what you're about. Then we can go ahead and launch our cold outreach systems or our automated Loom email system to these people. And you'll also notice we're not talking about cold calling and SMS, because that sucks. Once we have this ecosystem in place, we start booking a ton of calls. Once somebody books that call, we're going to send them into our pre-call nurture sequence. Then they show up to the call and we make sure that we can close them. So now what I want to do is break down all of these organic ecosystems step by step for you, so you can implement them into your own business and start making more money, signing more clients, etc. So let's start with the top of funnel system. You can see some good views that we've gotten over here on some of our top of funnel posts. The big thing that you need to understand is that you are a business owner. You are not an influencer. You are posting this content to get people to get on a call with you. So number one is going to be find your ICP's short form platform. Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? That latent conditions report that we showed you in the beginning of this video is going to be extremely important here, because we need to identify where your target market aggregates first. The next step is you're going to steal proven formats to drive traffic. What I like to do is I go to TikTok, I look for videos with millions of likes. I look for something where it's a visual hook in the beginning. It's just a few seconds. I take that hook from Instagram that got a bunch of likes, and then I put it on my profile. And then what I do is I find some way that I can tie that short form video into the value that I usually provide. That way I'm using a proven hook, it gets a ton of views. Then they also see that it is business related, so it filters out all the people that are just looking for the brain rot. You can do the same thing with audio hooks. You can do the same thing with all the different type of visual hooks, anything, it works the same. Next is you're going to post consistent value, 70% problem aware content. You need to tell them what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. For example, with our Loom email system, we know that you have to have a good offer because there's no shiny system out there that's going to make you successful. But when we use the Loom email system as a lead magnet, for example, to bring in the people that think this fancy magical appointment booking system is the solution to all their issues. But then as they get brought in, we show them the real stuff. We show them that your offer is important, the same way I ran through you on this video that the offer is important, because now they become problem aware that maybe it's not a magical system that's the issue, it's my actual business fundamentals. Then on top of this, you're going to look at the latent conditions report to know exactly what to post, because at that latent conditions report, you're going to know the exact words that they use in their head, and you can call out and use those words bar for bar in your content, which means you resonate with them better, which means they trust you better, which thinks the perceived value or the perceived likelihood of achievement goes through the roof. This way, you're not posting blindly. You're not posting what you think they want to see. You're posting what you know that they need to hear. After we have a ton of that top of funnel views, the top of funnel traffic, we're going to use ManyChat lead magnets and story sequences to drive all of this traffic to those value-based YouTube videos. All you do is you're going to shorten the YouTube link, you throw it into the lead magnet, and then all the people get funneled to this beautiful video that you create that's stacked with a whole bunch of value and your unique perspectives. It's created from your latent condition support, and then they want to book a call with you. The way that you book the call is you're simply going to put the call in the description, and then the pre-called nurture system, after they've booked the appointment, warms them so they show up to the call without objections and they're ready to buy from you. Just having top of funnel and this organic VSL will book you 2 to 5 appointments a day. But we can do better, to be completely honest. This is why we have our middle of funnel system. Every prospect shows up educated and warmed on the call. The way that we are going to create this value-based content is through ICP problem mapping. What you want to do first is identify the 3 to 4 pains of your ICP using that latent conditions report and all of your sales calls. So for example, the people that we help usually have the 3 biggest macro problems, which is their offer is absolutely abysmal, they can't book appointments, and then they can't sell at a high ticket level. You'll notice these are the exact same pillars that we have created this entire video around. The next step is to find the sub problems. You need to identify the problems of the macro problems. For example, with your offer, some issues with that is that you have no idea how to do correct packaging so you become a market of one, and you have no idea how to price yourself correctly. Some problems with appointment booking is that people are trying to use some free online DM outreach system, or you don't even have a system and you don't track metrics. And the other issue is that nobody knows how to post real organic that actually gets people's appointments. Or some sub problems from the sales. You don't know how to pre-handle objections, because the best sales calls is you don't have any objections other than if they literally don't have the money in the account, or let's say your show rate sucks. So the next step is to find the micro problems. You do this by identifying the problems of these sub problems. So I can go into a whole bunch of the micro problems that these sub problems have. And you can see you literally have unlimited content ideas when you do this, because all of these micro problems has 3 to 4 ways of packaging it. It has different formats that you can use. You can do coaching calls, you can do testimonials that are framed around these problems, you can do Miro boards, you can do talking heads. You see that there should be absolutely no reason that you don't have ideation completely down. Now it's time for the bottom of funnel system, which is extremely simple. Your middle of funnel did all of the work needed. The next step will blow your mind. Tell them to book a call. You give, more give, even more give, and then finally you're gonna ask. This ask is the YouTube organic VSL. You flood them with a ton of value that should make them money with the video alone. And then after giving them all of that value, they have no choice to book a call, because you've solved all their issues. You know what their issues are, and they believe that you can genuinely solve their problems. Now, there's one more thing that we can do after installing all of this, which is the catalyst. What this is DM outreach plus personalized Loom emails at scale. With our DM outreach strategy, we have a 12% appointment booking rate. The idea is they get curious and nurture themselves through your organic presence. So when we reach out to them, they already know who we are, but we just simply have to activate that person because for whatever reason, they didn't decide that booking right now was the right answer. On top of that, we can also run our automated personalized Loom email system. We're the only people in the world that can do this by sending a Loom email on the first email. has a 1.5% appointment booking rate, which means for every 100 emails that we send, 1 to 2 people will book. Now, the key with this is that it always lands larger clients. Cold calls show up to the call warm, and then curiosity is always the primary driver of booking, which is also why your packaging is so important. I don't want to dive into it too much, but essentially they see their website in the background. It scrolls automatically. You can even replicate their name in the video using AI. It looks absolutely perfect. We send it on the first email and it just books a ton of appointments. For the DM system, you can literally rip off our metric tracker here. The idea is you're going to do an intro DM. You're going to ask them one question and then tell them what sucks with a voice note. Tell them you should show them how to fix it on a call with a voice note. This is the main issue that I see with DMs. Everybody thinks that they have to follow this perfect script. They have to ask the right questions, alleviate or show the pain, and then drive the pain in and how it's affecting their business. You're reaching out and asking questions how every single person in the industry is doing DM outreach, and it's not going to work. That's why when I do DMs, I have the intro DM to just get the conversation going. I'll say it about literally everything. Then I'll ask them one question about a problem that I already know exists. They admit the defeat. And I say, look, man, you're literally setting money on fire. Book an appointment with me. I will show you how to solve it for free on the call. If it makes sense for us to move forward, we will move forward and you will pay us. If it doesn't make sense, worst case scenario, I leave you with a ton of value and you know exactly how to fix it. And if you're just sending random DMs and you don't have a metric tracker like this, then again, you don't know what's going wrong and you're setting money on fire. Because how can you fix a system if you don't even know what's not working with the system? I'm so serious. Combining DM outreach with organic will flood your calendar with calls when it's done correctly. Now imagine what happens when all of the philosophy that we've covered already is applied to paid ads. You have no choice but to hire a sales rep / manager because of the amount of calls that you're booking. The last powerful thing that you get with organic is the pre-call nurture system. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible because I don't want this to be a 3-hour long video. Essentially going to do a thank you page with 10 to 20 unlisted objection handling videos. You're going to know all their objections from getting all your sales calls transcripts as well as the latent condition report. Then you're going to add testimonials at the bottom of the page. Then you're going to add them to a WhatsApp group chat. You should have your setter do this and have them send them a voice note. I'm going to send you the exact video that solves the problem that we discussed on our conversation through the DMs. Or if it's somebody that booked manually, look at their intake form, look at the biggest problem that they said on their intake form from whatever calendar events software that you use. And then you're going to match whatever value video that you have according to their pain. You're going to say, I sent that over right now. And then a matched testimonial, somebody that closely relates to their current position, and then do all the SMS and email reminders that isn't just show up to the call, but also you have to watch these videos, right? And then they watch all this before the meeting or it's canceled. Here's some examples of this. You'll see all of the pre-handling of objection videos that I have here. We have all of the appointments that we've booked in a single day. By the way, this is great proof that we have a ton of appointments you can see in just one day. And we add them all to group chats doing exactly what I just said. And this is an example of the videos and voice message that my setter will send them. You'll notice actually practice what we preach, not just ripping off somebody else's system. And don't forget, all of the messaging, I'll say it again, is based off of this latent conditions report. You have to stop guessing what your prospect thinks and actually start engineering everything around your business based on the psychology of your market. I seriously can't stress enough, the latent conditions report should be injected into everything that you do with your business. The last step is that we have to be able to close the calls and people should show ready to buy, period. Calls from this infrastructure arrive insanely warmed and ready to buy, and they should be filtered out if they're not even qualified to afford your service. You need to exit yourself from sales after 30 perfect recording closes. This is what so many people get wrong. They say, oh my gosh, I want to sit back in my chair on the beach while I have money rolling in and hire a closer to close all my calls when you haven't even closed 10 perfect calls yourself. And then you need a placement agency, a sales manager, or a proven management system plus SOPs. Never reinvent the wheel. A lot of people hire their first sales rep trying to alleviate the sales pain, but you're doing it based off of guesses, not something that's already proven. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Any appointment that you have booked, when you have all of this infrastructure in place, you have to do everything in your ability to make them not buy, or they simply do not see the value in what you sell. or you just suck at sales. This is why I'm saying the sales is really solved on itself, especially if it's still founder-led sales and you don't have sales reps, which if you're under 100K a month, you're probably still in that spot. Either way, I'm still going to give you the basic philosophy in sales that most people don't really understand. And shocker, it goes right back to the offer. You need your pillar 1, your pillar 2, your pillar 3. I didn't want to explain all of this in a Miro board, so I'm just going to explain it with my words, but it's going to be extremely important. I know you're probably going to throw this transcript into Claude and reverse engineer I said, so that's perfect. You're going to take your offer. You need to understand what your pillar 1, 2, and 3 are directly tied to what the pains of the market is. So for example, for us, I know that your offer probably sucks. You struggle to book appointments, and then you struggle to close calls at a high ticket level. So what you need to do is you need to take each of these pillars, right? I'm going to spit some sauce here. When you do your pitch, the person should not be bored. They should be invested. What you want to look for in the body language is a high blink rate. They need to be processing all the information like that. As soon as you see in your calls, and you could test this, look at your sales calls, as soon as you see their blink rate slow down, you know they're disengaged. As soon as you see they're not nodding their head, as soon as you see they're laid back and their head is tilted and they're just bored waiting for you to shut up, you know that your pitch absolutely sucks. This is why our sales calls are so freaking valuable. Anybody that gets on a call with me is going to be left off the call better than they came on the call, because I genuinely pitch them in a way where they are begging to work with us. They are completely engaged throughout the entire pitch because I'm delivering value. I'm delivering information that will genuinely change their business and life forever. And your pitch needs to be the exact same. The issue is everybody is creating pillars in a way where they don't know what the issue is, or they're not tying it to the problems, right? So this is what you're going to do. You're going to have your pillar 1, 2, and 3. You're going to have everything. This is what you should do. You should have notes of everything from the discovery based on the exact words that they said. Now you're going to engineer your pitch in this structure. You're going to take pillar 1. You're going to look at the notes that they said. For us, it's the offer. So if somebody said, I'm struggling, I have so many people that I'm trying to do service delivery for, and I just can't find the time to be able to deliver. Well, I know immediately that they have an offer issue. So I'm going to say, you know how you were talking about feast and famine, and that you just simply don't have enough time to even focus on acquisition or create any systems or post any videos, and that's creating all of these issues 1, 2, 3, 4 that you told me. Well, the first thing that we need to do to fix that is to engineer your offer in a way where you're able to demand higher prices. Because when you demand higher prices, now you have more margins to do better service delivery, which means you need less clients to make more money, which means you get better results, which means you get better testimonials, which means you can use those testimonials in your organic since now you have free time, and then everything in the business becomes easier. Imagine I say that on a sales call. This is exactly what I've already told you in this video, but so many people that I've had on a sales call have never heard this stuff. Now they have, since I have organic up, but you see the idea how I tied the pillar to their exact pain, and I showed them the exact story on how it's going to fix their issues. Now, if you want to make this 10 times better, this is what you're going to do. You're going to say, this is exactly what I did with Luca. What I did is I saw that he was positioned in a way where he was overloaded on clients, and he had a service that would made his clients insanely rich. And this was extremely frustrating. I'm like, how are you getting your clients millions of dollars, but you're only charging $8,000 a month? So what we did with him is X, Y, and Z. That's how we signed a 7-figure-a-year client. The next step that we need to fix is your appointments. Now you can see how I tie the thing into the next pillar. This is the next thing that is insanely important for your pitch. You need to not just have these imaginary pillars that just solve people's issues. They need to tie into each other in a logical way. That is how you see our offer pillar. It ties into appointment booking. It ties into sales. It ties into your infrastructure. It ties into scaling. It ties into the full thing perfectly. That is why it is so important. That is also why when I give this pitch, they're super engaged, because it leaves this open loop. When I say something while I'm delivering the value on the offer and I'm like, this affects everything downstream, now they're like, oh, I wonder how the offer affects everything downstream. When is he going to tell me? And he's just dialed in. Then I dive into how the offer affects the appointment booking, the same way I've explained on this video, in the same way that it ties into the sales. Exactly what I'm telling you right now, I tell a prospect on a sales call, and they see all their solutions just disappear. Perceived value is through the roof, perceived competence is through the roof, and if you could train a salesperson it's very difficult. If you train a salesperson to have the same ability, even just 60% of it, they will close everybody super easily because they're already showing up on the call from the pre-call nurture systems and the organic. That was a lot of talking, and I could go on even more. That is why your offer is insanely important, and you need to structure your sales in this exact way. I promise you, if you do this alone and then also throw on just sharing your screen and showing undeniable proof, you will close so many calls at way more money. This is how we're closing people like William Rivera. This is how we do in-person sales. We're in Miami, so everybody is out here at the Hookah Lounge S47. This is the exact framework that not a lot of people are talking about. They're trying to tell you about this is handle the objection. Have you ever heard of the king that wears the crown or some bullshit like that? It is fake. You are drinking the Kool-Aid on what sales actually is. This is real sales. This is how you never have an objection again because you could solve it in discovery. And I'm going to dive into it that as well. I went over a 60-second yap, but I hope you get the idea. This shit is really important. Throw what I just said into Claude, change your sales system, and I'll make you a ton more money just from that information alone. Okay, a little out of breath, but let's keep going. Like I said earlier, this system will fill your calendar. You're going to desperately need a closer. Please do not reinvent the wheel. The only thing between you and a packed calendar, meaning consistent 5/6 figure months, is the full acquisition infrastructure in place. This is what I want you to do right now. You have a number in your head, I know you do, on what is your desired monthly revenue. I want you to take that desired monthly revenue and divide it by your show up rate times your close rate times your price. So for example, let's say desired monthly revenue is $50,000. The show up rate is 70%. Your show up rate should be 95% if you have all of this stuff in place. Let's say your close rate is 25%. If you are the founder, you should be at least 40 to 50%. If you do this correctly, you should be way higher than that, to be completely honest with you. So you're going to take that $50,000 and you're going to divide it by 875, which is, let's say the price, whatever it is a month. And then which means you need about 57 booked calls a month, which means you need roughly 2 calls a day. 2 calls a day, $50,000 a month. You are the top 0.1% of the people in your niche. 2 calls a day. Everything that I've walked through over here, I told you already that this stuff alone will book you 2 to 5 appointments a day. And I even said we can do better than that. 2 calls a day at the right price point with the right infrastructure in place, you get to $50K a month. This is the key. This is all you need. Now let's look what happens when you raise prices, right? Average cash collected, let's say 5 to 7K, just $2,000. And if you're charging 7K, I guarantee you we can charge more. The requirements from 57 appointments booked a month. So 29 booked calls for the same revenue. So instead of 57 calls a month, you need 29 booked calls just by increasing your prices by $2,000. That is the math. That is it. Imagine if we double your prices because we get your offer in the right place. Imagine if we double your prices because we have organic in the right place. It simply divides the amount of appointments booked. A $2,000 price increase means you need 1 call booked a day. 1 call booked. And and the crazy part is all of this happens when you have a correct offer in place. All of this happens when you have a correct offer in place. Every upstream variable cuts the volume that you need. Now, and this is very important, nobody talks about this, it switches the buyer-seller dynamic. Right now, if you're watching this video, you probably are watching it because you need more clients. You're desperate for clients. The buyer-seller dynamic is completely against you. You're begging for the girls, right? This switches it. Now when we have, because with these systems, like I said, you'll be booking 5 calls a day like the screenshots that I showed you. Now you're not looking at a call and desperate for the sale. You're evaluating if you even want to work with this client. Now you can see how you need to increase your prices as well, because your close rate is going to drop because you're going to be denying people to work with them. Now, if you're really a G, you have the correct business model to be able to collect the lower ticket people that you don't want to work with and spend time on, and you're able to upsell the people that you do want to take time on. This is everything. Price is the only variable that raises the other upstream variables instead of trading against them. Price is so important. This is what I mean by, for example, going from 5K to 7K. Price, the only variable that raises the other upstream variables instead of trading against them. Higher prices come from stronger positioning and perceived value. And that same positioning improves show rate. They value the call more. And the close rate, pre-sold prospects. They value the call more because of our organic and everything that they've seen about you. They show up more because they close more because they're already pre-sold because of our pre-call nurture sequences, our organic, everything, right? And you pre-handle their objections, you use the sale framework that we use. Whereas pushing book call volume usually degrades quality, which drags show rate and close rate down. This is literally what you're suffering from right now. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because I want you to ask yourself, do you have all this stuff in place? I want you to ask yourself that, right? Okay. If you're watching this, you probably understand by now that it's an organic YouTube VSL. The same thing you'll see again, we're practicing what we're preaching. You're at the bottom of my funnel. Welcome. I'm going to help you a lot. I promise. I know from my latent conditions report that you have 4 biggest objections that we've seen. Usually one of them will apply to you the most. The biggest one is probably, oh my gosh, this is so much value. I'm terrified of how much it is. For a majority of you guys, it's going to be the full install of everything that we just talked about. The offer, the pre-call nurture sequences, the appointment booking systems, the organic, the sales, everything. The full install is a multiple 4-figure investment, bare minimum. In-person and partnerships is usually multiple 5 figures and rev share. And a lot of times we meet you in person or we fly out to you. Next objection, is it right for me? What I want you to do right now is look at all of your acquisition infrastructure and compare it to this board. I want you to compare it to all of this. Do you have an offer that makes you a market of 1? Can you throw your unique mechanism into a chat and have them book immediately just like that? Are you booking a ton of appointments a day? Are you able to close at a 5-figure level? Compare everything that we talked about to what you have in place right now, and there's your answer if it is right for you. If you have all this stuff in place and it's perfect, click off the video, don't book with us. We will have to meet in person to help you anyways, but it means I failed my job on providing differentiated value, so you shouldn't trust me, right? So that's how you know if it's right for you. Does it work for businesses like mine? If you are an agency, this works exceptionally well. If you're a growth operator, I used to be a growth operator. I still am on the done for you side. It works extremely well, which is why I use it. Coaches, you're basically a growth op, but for a more specific issue. It still works. Info, oh my goodness. Info is simply a part of a business model that is usually more done for you on the back end. It still works for you. Do I have the time to be able to commit to it? This, as you can tell, is a lot of time. This is a lot of infrastructure with a lot of minute details that I didn't include because it would take 20, 50 hours to be able to genuinely explain to you. It is simple to install. We lay out step by step how to install it, but it is not easy. The first thing that we do when we have a client is win back as much time as we can, because we know that all of this stuff is going to be the highest leverage thing that you can do with your time. So why would we accept you not letting your time go to the highest leverage thing? And like any good organic VSL, more proof. Daniel Lee accidentally closing client. He was actually just right there. You see all the cuts in the videos because he was talking to us. This is what I mean by we fly out our clients, and you'll probably see some other footage of us in person with our clients. He got his $24K a month client, which is now outdated, which is why he flew out. He's generating between 35 to 50K from this one client and has more in the pipeline. He books 9 appointments a day. He has a 9% appointment booking rate on our Loom email system. And he did this in 3 weeks. He generated 128,000, which is realistically about 180, 200,000 at this point. We have Robert, like we already said in the beginning, 0 to 21.7K in a month. Here's some more screenshots. We have Luca, the 7-figure a year client. We have Andrew, to 10K a month client in 9 days. He was charging 2 to 3K a month in the beginning. We have William Rivera, which we booked him a crap ton of calls. Josh Wilson, who signed his first high ticket client for 5K. I'm going from absolutely nothing. Matt, oh my gosh, if you're watching this, Matt, I absolutely love you. You're amazing. Yes, I just hopped on a call with him earlier. He said, I don't like how much money is just sitting there and not doing anything. This guy closed for an audit, by the way, just the audit alone, not service delivery. He's charging 5K. He usually charges between 20 to 30K for his builds. He's 17 years old, had 0 testimonials, by the way. It is insane. This is why I'm saying he's not even 18 years old. It is just the start. We have Daniel. Again, he had amazing service delivery as well, because we talk to people about service delivery, which everybody misses. We have Owen Larson, his 9,500 PIF. And also we got a hybrid deal because we helped him with his business model. Close number 2 within the first 2 weeks of running the Loom email system. Isaiah Rivera closing 5-figure clients. More Isaiah Rivera, Max and House. I could just go on and on and on. You can look at all the appointments that we book for people. We can see the PIFs that we get for people through webinars and other business models. I could go on and on and on, but again, I'm not going to keep yapping. Hopefully you get the idea. Our stuff works, right? And I want to walk you through exactly what we're going to do for you, not just the ubiquitous stuff saying, oh, here are our pillars, we'll help them do it for you. I want you to know exactly what we are going to do for you. Everything is related to everything I just talked about. Week 1 is going to be the offer. Make you a market of 1. Have you have a unique mechanism on the biggest pain in your niche that is tied to logic, not throwing a fancy name on top of what you do. You're going to be able to charge more, which means bigger margins, which means better deliveries, which means better results, which again means better marketing. Everything downstream becomes effortless. Hopefully you see why by now. The flywheel, all from getting the offer right. I'm going to spend that first week going through your offer and making sure it's absolutely impeccable. The same offer engineering that 7 and 8 figure a month operators are using. Week 2 is going to be installed the organic infrastructure, your YouTube nurture system, the organic VSL that you're watching right now, value-based posts for authority, organic VSL for the conversion. This is where we're going to send all of the traffic, all the assets that are used for the pre-call nurture system. The results of this is people are willing to pay more. Your close rate, your cash collected rate, your show rate all improve. All posts are made based off that latent conditions report, so we're not guessing about what we're going to post. And then week 3 is going to be the nurture and appointment infrastructure. Pre-call nurture system and appointment system in parallel deployment, because we should have enough time. These systems are very easy to install. We can run them side by side. We're going to use the organic assets to install pre-call nurture systems, use the offer and latent conditions report to identify the best appointment booking system to stack on top of your organic, which is what we talked about, the catalyst. And we book at least, it should be more, but I'm going to be pessimistic here, 3 to 5 calls a day for people who show up to the call educated, loving you, and ready to buy at your higher ticket price point, because now we created a market of 1. Then begin to prep for paid acquisition and other high scale acquisition methods. You'll notice all of this is without ad spend. All of this is without ad spend. Imagine what we do when we start running webinars or we start running paid ads. You can see how freaking powerful, and our ads are cheaper because we have all the organic in place. Week 4 is going to be sales and optimization. We will literally take calls for you. I think I'll probably talk about this. We train you in sales to ensure you don't have any objections on the call and close at least 20%. If you're founder-led sales, it should be more. We look at all the metrics, identify any bottlenecks, and solve them for you. If necessary, we take the calls ourselves to show you proof of concept. Look at all the courses or the operators that you have hired. How many of them have taken the calls themselves? How many of them have genuinely cared about you? Excuse me. I'm getting passionate here because I'm in Miami. All of the people around me are the famous people that you see on Instagram that you've probably bought a course or consulting from. And I'm tired of seeing all of these people use Clarity Pay and put them in debt and then not give them results. And they screw over younger people starting the business and make it so they'll never be able to have the credit again to be able to purchase what they need in life. They screw them over. Nobody cares about their clients in this space, and it is an absolute joke. It is an absolute joke because you're hurting people. You are hurting people. Quick tangent. Once you're overloaded on sales calls, we help you place a sales rep and plan for a sales manager ASAP. ASAP, because a founder should never be taking the sales calls. You are a CEO, you are not a sales rep. It's a 3-month sprint together. Me and my partner working with you side by side. We give you all of these systems, all the SOPs, everything step by step. And then we aim for a partnership. You'll see our model is engineered in a way where we have to make you succeed. Because the only way that you're going to want to do a partnership with us and meet with us in person is if we get you the early results and get you to multi 5-figure, possibly 6-figure months on the front end immediately. So if you're an agency or you're an info or you're a growth op, I will give you a complete roadmap and coaching call for free. The link will be in the description. This will be the best decision that you can make for your business and your life. This one call can potentially change those two things forever because you see the value that I've given you in this big ass Miro board. You've seen everything that I've laid out for you. Imagine if we're on a call and you tell me the very small, minute details about your business. I will lay out every single thing that I see in the business and tell you exactly how to fix it. And also the exact step-by-step, the strategy for free. I will give you everything on that call for completely free. So genuinely, and this is what I say in the DMs, you can see everything's authentic. Genuinely, you will leave the call better than you came on the call. Because I want to build something that is done correctly and I want to partner and work with people and change people's lives. And the service that you provide to other people should change people's lives too. So book a call. Do not put it off. Do not put it into the calendar for down the road. Book a call right now. Book a call right now. I'm so passionate about this because I genuinely help people on these calls. The same way that I told you about this pitch, there's more than just this strategy that I showed you earlier on the pitch. There's more to this. It is the ethical way to do sales. It's not the emotional manipulation. It is genuinely helping people before they even book with you. Genuinely helping people. And just an example, I want to show you a real life example of how detailed these plans get that we work with people. I'll let you can pause the video and go through this yourself, right? I'll let you go through this yourself. This plan that we made for somebody is for a really big person in this space. Very big person. We will probably get him to $1 million a month within the next 6 months. You can look through it yourself. So if you're still watching, what are you doing? Book a call. Book a call. I'm telling you, it is the best thing that you can do for yourself. I'll run through every single thing that we've went through here. I'm not able to get through everything on a Miro board, probably 45 an hour video. But if I'm on a call with you, I can take all my experience and my partner will take all of the experience and tell you exactly what you need to do to fix your business. This will change your life. I'm super excited to work with you. Book the call and I'll see you soon. I'm Jesse Beltran. Adios.